how to become a rancher. Lots of people have asked me now, how do I become a rancher? I want to become a rancher like Kevin Costner is in Yellowstone. I want to, make a living ranching with horses and cattle. And let's talk over what you need to do to become a rancher in Montana. First of all, let's specify ranching. Ranching is where you raise cattle and sell them in some fashion, or sheep or some other animal, okay? So you can have a horse ranch, I guess, where you're selling horses as well. Well, to start a ranch in Montana, like the old-fashioned way, which is cow-calf operation, this is what they show in Yellowstone, where you're raising cattle until their weaning age, which is about 6 or 8 months of age. Then they're weaning them from their mothers and selling the calves at somewhere around 600 to 800 pounds. And these calves then go get finished somewhere else, get butchered, and get to the marketplace. So that the normal cow-calf operation anymore is very difficult to get into. The two easiest ways to get started in ranching are, number one, be born into a family that already owns thousands of acres and a large cattle herd that you can then inherit. That's the easiest way, but it's very select few have that. Number two, you have an extra $5 or $6 million as startup costs because you need to buy very expensive land and then stock it with cattle. If you have either of those two, you can get started in ranching right away. The third way, or any other way, is going to be very much more difficult. If you don't have one of those two things, either you inherit a ranch or you have millions of dollars, and you want to get started in ranching, my advice is to first go find a job as a cowboy. Now, to do this, you're going to have to go out there and beat the bushes. These guys it's really hard to hit up a bunch of ranchers on Facebook because not a lot of them use Facebook. I mean, a lot of these guys use a flip phone. So you're gonna have to go find one. Don't count on making any money. That is not the deal. You're trying to learn how an operation works, how much work it takes, that kind of thing. Without knowing that, I would advise not getting into ranching until you know what it really takes to do. Getting a job on a guest ranch, which is a ranch that has people come out to ride horses and stay there and everything, does not count for this. You will not learn anything about ranching from a guest ranch, because what a guest ranch does is basically create a fake environment for somebody to enjoy themselves. That's not the purpose of ranching. Ranching is to make money. So that's my advice. But for those of you that want to just dive right in, there is one more thing that you might be able to do to get started in ranching right away. So the first thing you need is some property, which is going to cost a lot of money. And to make a full-time income like you see in the movies, you're going to have thousands of acres. That's just not practical. You're going to spend anywhere from 3 to 50 million on the property. And there's no way to make that back. So what you need to do is buy a property that you can afford and then try to make it pay with something that's very specific, very special. So you're going to need cattle, horses, hay ground, some equipment to put the hay up, or you're going to have to purchase the hay. So all of those things come into play when you're starting to ranch. And this is if you want to jump right ahead to the ranching part instead of learn to be a cowboy first, or a ranch hand. So hay is a very essential thing in Montana because our winters are so long. So you have to have a way to feed hay. Now, right now in Montana, that's a real problem because hay is so expensive. Hay is like $250 a ton. To feed these horses costs about $100 a month per horse. So they eat about the same as a cow this time of year, because cows don't have calves on them. They're just growing a calf in their belly right now. So it's about the same. You're talking $100 a month per cow. That is very hard to recoup with the price of just selling a calf at weaning. But that isn't really the end of the argument, because you, with only a couple hundred acres and a few cows or horses, you're not going to be able to make enough money. What you're going to have is a whole lot of work and not enough money to even afford to do anything. What you're going to have to do is find something special. You're going to have to raise a certain breed of cattle, a very specific breed of cattle, one that you can sell for a lot more money. You're going to have to raise all these calves until they're old enough, which is about 2 years, and then butcher them and sell the beef to restaurants or individuals. You're going to have to find other ways to become a rancher rather than just a traditional cow-calf operation. Right now, I am actually working on a way that you can learn digitally how to raise cattle. It's called Cattle Kings, and you can find it with the link down below, or go to cattlekings.io. cattlekings.io. I'm working on this project. It's not going forward very fast, but I'm trying to have something in the next few weeks that you can actually utilize. You can have digital cattle. It's kind of like a strategic card game. You're playing against the game, but you're also trying to learn in kind of like real life how to raise a calf that actually makes you money. And how you have to separate the bulls because you only get 50%. It goes into a lot of those details in a game style. It'd be a way for you to really get started right now in a jump start in how to actually make money as a rancher if you get to that point in your life. Now, also, I'm going to try to get I've gotten a hold of a couple ladies that I know who have started ranching in the very recent years, and what they've done is really become cowgirls, not ranchers. So one of them has kind of become a rancher, one of them has become a cowgirl, and you can go one of those two routes. Both of them have used social media as a way to make the money that they would need to make up as an actual rancher. It's really difficult. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's very hard to become a rancher right now. I used to have the dream of becoming this huge rancher as a kid, and you know, it's something that you need to really learn how to be a businessman or a businesswoman, and then get into the business and figure out ways to raise your cattle either on leased ground, which is very hard to get anymore, or a different raising a very specific breed of animal that's worth more money. And it's not easy, it's very difficult. And so I want you to understand these are the ways that you can get started, but it's also, these are ways that you can, you know, with Cattle Kings, it's something that you might be able to do to learn the game before you get in. That's it for me. I'm Trinity Vandenacker. I hope you enjoyed this little episode. I have a broken rib right now, so I'm doing a little bit different content. If you have questions about how to be a rancher, what we do, anything in particular, please leave them in the comments, because I read all of my comments. And I want to know what you guys are thinking, what you want to see from me, especially in this time of healing, lots of pain. I got a lot of Tylenol and ibuprofen in me right now to manage holding this camera up, because that's kind of leverages stuff. So anyway, I will continue to make some content throughout this period as much as I possibly can, and I'll see you next time. I'm Trinity Vandenacker. God bless.